One of the rock formations here in the canyon that I have studied is this whitish cliff that you see back here in the background. That's called the Coconino Sandstone. It's near the top of the Grand Canyon. It's about a 300-foot thick layer of sandstone. And it covers all of northern Arizona. And it's generally believed by most geologists to have been formed by sand accumulating in a desert. We call that Aeolian deposit. That means deposited in a desert by wind. But I have studied the fossil trackways there in that formation, which are the only fossils found there. They have generally are used as evidence that it was deposited in a desert. But I've done research on them, I've published papers on it in the scientific literature. And there are many features we find that just can't fit a desert environment. It apparently was deposited underwater, and these animals were walking on the sand underwater. And there are several features of the tracks that can only be explained that way. One of those is, well, imagine you're out in the desert and you're walking a long ways and all of a sudden somebody appears beside you. There are no tracks behind, all of a sudden they appear. How would you explain that? Well, it's pretty hard to explain that in the desert. Basically impossible unless the tracks are made by birds. Well, we have those kind of tracks in that Coconino Sandstone. Trackways that just abruptly begin or abruptly end. So where'd the animal go? How did he disappear? Well, underwater it's easy. You can swim down and walk and then swim away. In a desert it's basically impossible to explain. So that's just one of the evidences that tells me that was deposited underwater. And I started studying these because I wondered how to explain this and how to fit this into our understanding that the world was affected by a global flood. Now, we can't automatically assume it had to be underwater because, you know, who knows? You might have had some complex things happening during the flood. Maybe it was the water went down or something. But in fact, I wanted to understand what was the correct explanation. And it turns out that it apparently was underwater.